around too much. Good morning Good morning. For those attending Rules and Operation online, we will begin shortly. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Rules and Operations Committee of the Pierce County Council. It's Monday, November 4th, 2024. The time is 10:05 a.m. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilmember Campbell,
Here.
Councilmember Morale,
Here.
Councilmember Mello.
Here.
You have 3 members present.
We have all 3 members present. We're also joined by the alternate to the Rules and Operations Committee, Councilmember Hitchin. Also joined as a guest to the committee, Councilmember Cruver. Item number 3 is approval of our agenda. Is there any objection to approving our agenda as presented? Seeing no objection, the agenda is approved. We're at item number 4, approval of minutes of October 14th and the October 22nd meeting. Is there any objection to approving those minutes as presented? Seeing no objection, those minutes are approved. Thank you as always. That does bring us to item number 5, approval of the meeting schedule for the week of November the 11th through the 15th. Ms. Long, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. This is your meeting schedule for November 11th through the 15th. On Monday, November 11th, the office will be closed for the Veterans Day holiday. On Tuesday, November 12th, beginning at 9:30, you have an Economic and Infrastructure Development Committee meeting. There is one proposal for consideration on this agenda, and that's O 2024-554. And this is the TIP, or the Transportation Improvement Program, and the 14-year ferry program. This has a November 26th final hearing date. At 11 a.m. on Tuesday is a special meeting of the Rules and Operations Committee. There are several proposals on this agenda for consideration. First up is O 2024-556. This is the school impact fees. This has a November 19th final hearing date. The next 3 proposals are all pending approval on tomorrow's consent agenda. And the first of those is O 2024-560, and this is authorizing wage adjustments for non-represented employees, and this has a November 19th final hearing date as well. The next is O 2024-562, and this is the noxious weed levy. This also has a November 19th final hearing date. And then finally, you have R 2024-242, and this is revising the administrative guidelines for the council office. And this has a November 19th final hearing date as well. At noon on Tuesday is your regular Tuesday study session. In addition to your usual agenda items, you do have one grant for review, and that is the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Intermodal Sustainability Hub. This is through planning and Public Works for your review. At 3 p.m. is your regular council meeting. On Wednesday, November 13th, beginning at 9:30, you do have a special meeting of the Select Committee on Homelessness. There are 2 discussion items. The first is the Comprehensive Plan and Homelessness Update. That will be with Devin Isaacson from Human Services. And next, you have the overview of Landlord Liaison Project. This will be presented by Nicholas Miriam from Housing Connector. At 1:30 on Wednesday, you do have a committee of the whole, and there are several proposals for consideration here. I believe all of these are pending review or pending approval on tomorrow's consent agenda. So first up is O 2024-561. This is the jail incarceration rates. This has a November 19th final hearing date. Next is O 2024-563. This is the ad valorem tax levies for the Pierce County General Levy, and this has a November 26th final hearing date. Next up is O 2024-564. This is the ad valorem tax levies for conservation futures, also a November 26th final. And next you have O 2024-565. This is the ad valorem tax levies for county roads. And this also has a November 26th final. And the last item on that agenda is O 2024-567. This is the Parks and Recreation Services fees. And this one has a November 19th final. On Friday, November 15th, beginning at 9:30, you do have another special committee of the whole. There's one proposal on this agenda, that's O 2024-568, and that is the mid-biennium budget adjustment ordinance. And this has a November 26th final hearing date, and that is your meeting scheduled for November 11th through the 15th.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments about the meeting schedule for the week of November the 11th? Councilmember Morel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just curious about, on the special meeting rules and operation committees on proposal, O 2024-556 on the school impact fees. Is it normal that it goes through rules and not a committee?
Well, rules is a committee, but
Yeah.
I guess you can address that. It has varied through the years on where certain of the budget related proposals are referred.
Okay, just curious.
I really don't have anything further to add in regard to that. Ms. Long's correct. It has been sent to rules in the past. It's been sent to the Community Development Committee in the past. And then this instance, the proposal that's before the council is the annual indexing for inflation. It's not making any policy changes. It's just following the directive in county code to adjust that fee each year for the change in the construction cost index. So it's a fairly straightforward proposal. No policy changes are being offered. And so for scheduling, trying to manage all the different pieces of legislation moving through the system right now, rules had capacity. And so we used that as a venue. Our staff recommended that as a venue for this. So.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions about the meeting schedule for the week of November the 11th? Commissioner Campbell for a motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I move approval of the meeting schedule for the week of November 11th through the 15th, 2024.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the meeting schedule for the week of November the 11th through the 15th, 2024. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's adopted. We're at item number 6, approval of the council agenda for November 12th. Ms. Long, to brief.
Thank you. This is your regular council meeting agenda for November 12th. We'll start with your consent agenda. You have one item under introduction and scheduling, and that is O 2024-566. This is declaring selected timber resources located on county property as surplus. This is the Buckley Forest Land Preserve Park property. You'll be referring this to rules and setting the final for December 3rd. Moving to your final action items on the consent agenda, you have one resolution, that's R 2024-243, and that's confirming the appointment of one new member to the Pierce County Community Development Corporation Board of Directors. Under D, you have one grant for approval, and that will be reviewed as we saw during the meeting schedule review earlier that day. And there is also another budget filed with the county that you'll see under other items. There are no proclamations, there are no resolutions, so we'll jump right to section 9, ordinances, and you have one item here. It's O 2024-553S, And this is the critical areas proposal, amending chapter and title of the code. This received a due pass as substituted at CDEC on October 7th. And those are your agenda items for the meeting of November 12th.
Thank you. Any questions for the meeting agenda of November the 12th? Don't see any. Vice Chair Campbell for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. Move approval of the agenda for November 12th, 2024.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the meeting agenda for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion's adopted. That brings us to other business. Vice Chair Campbell has a discussion item and a motion. Vice Chair Campbell.
Yes, I'll start with the motion. I make them. We haven't done this motion, but we've done this motion once before, so I just want to be sure I got it right. Make a motion authorizing the display of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians flag in council chambers during the month of November 2024.
Go ahead.
I will second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we authorize the display of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians flag in the council chambers during the month of November 2024. Vice Chair Campbell, to speak to your motion.
Thank you. Last week, we again celebrated Native American, Indigenous Peoples and Native Alaskans Day. One of the few proclamations throughout a year the executive actually signs on to and comes and joins us in, which is talks about the paramount moment we've come to really when it comes in working with our tribal communities locally. It was pointed out by a tribal council member that we weren't flying one here locally. And so following up on that request of that tribal member, I bring forward this motion to display the Puyallup tribe since we are on traditionally Puyallup tribal land here. My hope is that like proclamations in the past, this is the start, and over the next year we can have a robust discussion about what we have permanently affixed in our chambers to honor our relationship with all the Indigenous people that live on the lands in Pierce County or have treaty rights to Pierce County. And we know that those conversations take time, but this is a step forward that the Puyallup tribal council member asked for. I've heard from the Puyallup tribe that they're good to go with it. So with that, I bring us the motion today in hopes of forwarding the conversation on our tribal relations.
Thank you, Vice Chair Campbell. Councilmember Morrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate Council Members Campbell's passion on this issue. I wish we would have had more time to discuss the concept of how we were going to be inclusive with all the tribes, because though we sit on Puyallup tribal land, Pierce County encompasses a lot of different tribes. And I don't want them to feel like we're prioritizing one tribe over the other. So I will support it this time, but I would look forward to a robust discussion on how we are inclusive in inviting more tribes to participate in county council business, plus the display of their flags. And also, since it did talk about Alaska Natives, there's a lot of tribes that are from Alaska that are down here also, and we acknowledge that too. So anyway, I will support it. I feel a little jammed on it though, but I'm okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Morrell. Any other discussion? Councilmember Coover.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate being able to speak in your meeting. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on Councilmember Morale in the inclusive issue. Nisqually is pretty tight as well, and I feel that what is happening here is we are put into an emotional position that makes it very difficult to have a robust discussion on this when there are many other folks involved in what the meaning of this is. And I would prefer that there be discussions and that be brought up for the next year to better evaluate the pros and cons. Although our hearts want to say yes, let the Puyallup have their flag there, but is that really fair and just for all the other tribes as well? And I think that's sending a message of conflict in practicing what we preach, so to speak. So I would appreciate, and thank you for letting me speak on this. I think it's just a little bit short of time to make such a decision. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Coover. Any other discussion on the motion? Well, I don't see any. I do understand the intent is not at all to be disrespectful to our 3 other federally recognized tribes in Pierce County. So I appreciate everyone who's spoken, lifting up our important relationship with especially our federally recognized tribes who have a special designation, but all of our tribal members who reside and call Pierce County home. So we definitely have a lot more conversation to have with, in my opinion, especially our federally recognized tribes, and how we can extend an invitation to continue government-to-government relationship in so many different ways, including respecting their nation's flag in our public facilities and especially in the council chambers that we control. So more conversation and invitation to come, as I understand it from Vice Chair Campbell. The intent here is to really acknowledge where these chambers and the county seat is here on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup tribe. And so we can expedite displaying the Puyallup Nation's flag here because of where the county seat is and where our council chambers reside. And I understand this council very much wants to continue thoughtful and collaborative discussions with especially other federally recognized tribes here in Pierce County for future inclusion. And that does, as Councilmember Morell indicated, that's going to take a lot more respectful dialogue and outreach to those tribal nations. So I too will be supporting this as an indication of a step forward, but by no means the end of this relationship building and display of respect. The motion in front of us is to authorize the display of the Puyallup Tribe of Nations flag in the council chambers during the month of November 2024. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's adopted. Vice Chair Campbell.
Yeah, and just a follow-up motion, I'd like to make a motion that we add to the 2025 council work plan a item to discuss a permanent display in the council chambers, be it flags, be it a plaque, be it, sorry, I'm talking to the motion, to add it to the work plan for 2025. Get that, take out my narrative.
Second. The motion in front of us, as I heard it, is to direct council staff to direct the council's work plan for 2025 about displaying other tribal nations flags in council chambers. Is that accurately summarized? Vice Chair Campbell, you want to correct it?
Yeah, well, I would say just a permanent display. So it may be flags. We may decide we want to do something different. We will have time to have a robust discussion of what options may be before us. It may be flags of the four nations. It may be a plaque showing all four flags on it. We have ways to be creative and discuss it. Take the time next year, have that full discussion. So it's ready to go by November next year of what the council wants.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but just directing these should this motion pass, directing these next steps to our chief of staff. I think this really means working with facilities management to support the council, leadership on what display looks like. So again, hearing from the maker of the motion, display can mean lots of different things. So there has to be more conversation with, especially facilities management who supports us in our space, especially the new space that the council anticipates moving into the end of, which is uncertain, by the way, right? It might be the end of 25, might be in 2026. So I think we all have to remain flexible. But hearing the spirit of the motion about being creative and flexible about what display looks like. So, but again, I think the point that I'm trying to make is I think this very much needs to involve facilities management in the discussion. Any other discussion? The motion in front of us is to have the council in 2025 work on a permanent display of other tribal nations.
Tribal recognition.
Of tribal recognition in council chambers. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's adopted. Any other business by members? Ms. Long, any other business?
Not today, thank you.
With no other business before the Rules and Operations Committee, we are adjourned.